Like you don't believe in coincidences.
There's no such thing.
At all.
The word is tricking you to believe that things just happen for no reason.
Exactly.
When it's actually, the root word means that things come together with purpose. Coincide. To coincide means to come together with purpose. Coincidence means to come together without purpose.
Yeah.
Ignorant is one of those words too, because the root word of the word ignorant
It's
is
to ignore.
and ignore is to willingly disregard. You know what I'm saying? So to be ignorant is to be unknowing that you're unknowing, to be within the unknowing. To ignore is to knowingly disregard.
Yeah.
So that's both trick words. Those things don't exist.
And to not expand yourself past what you already know that you already know is a sin against yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God, ignorance.
You know what I mean? Learning anything is ultimately learning yourself.
They call it coincidence, but it's not. The moment that you thought of someone, they text you. The song that played right after you asked for clarity. That stranger who said exactly what you needed to hear. That's not random. That's divine alignment. The universe shows you that everything is connected even when you can't see the whole picture. Hey, Rych Babes, it's Robin Milan and welcome back to the channel, okay? Like, listen, if you have been noticing patterns, divine timing, that feeling that seems a little too perfect, this message is for you. And if you are a Rych Babe who believes in alignment, elevation, and becoming your higher self, make sure that you hit subscribe because we don't chase, we attract. All right, let's get right into this video and I'll be back at the end.
So it's been said that synchronicities, some people call them coincidences, happen in your life. It's God's way of kind of giving you a little wink, like, you know, you're on the right path or head this way. The last few months, I say even a year, my life has always been full of synchronicities once I started really becoming aware of the significance in my life. The last few months has just been so amazing, just the synchronicities that happen, that it's just blowing my mind. But there's one in particular I've been meaning to share it now. So probably about 6 weeks ago, I ran across this reel, and it was a guy doing a podcast. The podcast host was interviewing a guy who asked, have you ever wondered why flamingos lose their pink?
Thing about flamingos, how they lose their color?
No.
Oh, very interesting. So here's...
And the podcast host kind of looked at him strange, and, you know, I kind of wondered too where he was going with that. And the guy said, have you ever looked at a flock of flamingos where, you know, they're all bright, you know, pink, that beautiful pink color they are? He said, and then you may see one or two who are actually white. And so the guy kind of nods his head, and if you go and kind of look at pictures, you'll see that. And he says, you ever wonder why that flamingo is not pink? And he says, those are typically the mothers, the women of the flock, who have spent so much time pouring into others, giving to others, that they have literally depleted the enzyme that creates this beautiful pink color.
And so it's the only animal on the planet that God lets us see how much the woman is depleted while taking care of other people.
Wow.
And so a lot of women don't get their pink back for a long time. Whew. And it's crazy. Now when you see flamingos, you'll never look at them ever again.
Yeah.
So Google, why does a flamingo lose its pink?
Yeah.
And you'll say it's because the mother gives everything to its child, gives everything to its husband, gives everything to its spouse.
So many of us have poured so much from our cup that it's empty. It's been an amazing year for me, but I have been feeling so depleted. And so I went around after I saw that video for the next day, kind of telling folks, I need to get my pink back. I'm getting my pink back. I'm getting my pink back. The very next day, I walk home, and I'm right here on the water, the Detroit River in Detroit. And it started pouring. And I, you know, come upstairs and I look out at the water, and it's like, you know, raining out. And what do I see in the middle of the river? You can't make this stuff up. I've been on this water now for over 7 years and have never seen an inflatable pink flamingo floating down the river. And if you notice the video, that little pink flamingo is like bobbing down, you know, it's tossing over, the wind and the rain is blowing it over, but it gets right back up, upright. And when I saw that, it was just further proof that God's got me, and God's telling me to get my pink back so that I can keep going, keep on this path. I just remember years ago, when I heard the voice of God tell me, as long as you follow in my path, you'll never have to worry. And that was such a reminder, such a synchronistic reminder for me that, you know, all is good and it's so much bigger than I am. So I just wanted to share that story with you guys.
Happened to me is why I will die on this journey, because this shit is insane. This shit happens to me all the time. Just listen to me. So I got off of work today at about like 1:30, and my dad FaceTimed me, and he was hiking. And if I live in Nevada, it's 115 degrees here. I'm not going on a hike. But he looked so peaceful on his hike. I took a screenshot of us. I'm going to put it here. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to go be outside. I was feeling called to go be outside. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out to Mount Charleston. It's about 80 degrees there. Cool. Great. I go there. I'm on my way. And I'm saying these little things for context, because if these little things didn't happen, I never would have made it there at the exact time that I did. But I had to stop and get gas, and my card wasn't working. So then I had to go fucking get another card and all this shit. And so it took me way longer than I needed to. So I do that. I get the gas. I go to the hike. I'm hiking up the hike or this hill. And I meet a lady and her son on the way up the hike. Super kind. We just chatted for a minute and then I kept going. I get to the hike. I sit down. Mind you, I never take a book on a hike. But today I was feeling called to take a book because I usually bring my journal. I brought both this day because it's like, okay, take the book. I was like, okay, great, take the book. I take the book. I get there. I sit down and there's two guys talking. I can't see them. They're behind trees. But the moment I move and shift my seat, it's maybe a minute after I get there, they completely change conversation. And the one guy starts talking about everything that I've been talking about on here. Religion, meditation. He's talking about the more that he meditated and sat with his mind, the more that he actually heard God and understood what God was saying. And I am like this, bitch. I'm looking over here like this. No way. I have goosebumps from head to toe. I was like, this cannot be happening to me right now. There's no way this is happening right now. And then I go to pick up my freaking book thing to get my chapstick. And I pick the book up. And all I'm hearing is give him the book. Give him the book. Give him the book. And I'm like, okay. So they stop talking and I get up. I go, I'm so sorry I'm interrupting you right now. I said, but your conversation has just thrown me for a loop. And I have to tell you why. So I explained it to him. And I said, yada, yada. I said, have you ever read this book? And it was a book by Eckhart Tolle, or however you say his name. I'll put it here too. And he goes, no, I haven't. And he's smiling at me. And I introduced myself to them. Their names were Stryker and Haas. I'll never forget these two. And he goes, can I tell you something? And I said, yeah, what? He goes, I was on my way to Barnes & Noble, but I felt like I needed to come on a hike here. You felt like you needed to do what? Girl, you're kidding me. And so then I meet him, we talk, he asked me for my advice on meditating, and I literally just said, he asked me what the purpose of meditation was for me now that I've been in it for 4 years, and I said it was to uncover the voice that has always been inside of me, that's inside of all of us. And he's just smiling at me, and he looks at me and he goes, I just gotta tell you I love you. And I said, I love you too. And he said, next time I need a book, I'm gonna come to the top of the hill. I said, I'll be here waiting for you. And that's how we left it. You're shitting me. So then I'm walking down the hill, and this is what's crazy, is I was saying how I wanted to have like a little hike club. And I was wanting to meet girls that wanted to hike more. I meet that same lady I met going up. We talked the entire way down, and you know what she said to me? I'm sorry, I'm sweating, you guys. She said to me, would you like to join my hike club? I said, yeah, I would. Hello? Please. What I'm talking about is not a joke. This shit happens to me all the time, and it can happen to you too, but the only difference between me and you is I believe it can happen, and I need you to start believing that it can happen.
I want to tell you guys about my most recent synchronicity. So I work at a coffee shop, and one of my regulars, who I've literally known for like 4 years, her name is Lena. And a couple weeks ago, I just decided, for some reason, I always ask people random questions, but I just asked her if Lena was short for anything, and she told me it was short for Delina. And when she said that, I was pulled back to a different version of myself, to when I was probably like 10 years old. And I used to go to summer camp, and I was frenemies with this girl named Delina. And the last memory that I have of her is that we would do a talent show after at the end of the summer every year. And I would always perform and do like something. But this year was different. We did like, everybody would perform, and then there was like a dance battle tournament thing. And me and her were the last two, and she beat me. So I told the girl, Lena, I'm like, wow, that's so crazy. Like, your name's Delina. Like, I told her a little bit about that. And she thought it was so funny, of course. And a few days later, I get a follow on TikTok from somebody named Delina. And I'm like, okay. So I get synchronicities all the time, and I just thought that, oh, like, that's really cool. Like, that's a synchronicity. Like, they have the same name, whatever. I didn't think that it was actually her. So I, like, brushed it off, whatever. And then I saw the girl, Lena, again, because the coffee shop that I work at, it's in a plaza. She works at the nail salon, so, like, next door. So I see her literally all the time. So I'm like, girl, you're not going to freaking believe this. The universe thinks it's mad funny and wants to remind me of how she whooped my ass in the dance battle. And it's 2 days after we were talking, somebody named Delina followed me. She's like, I'm fucking dead. Like, that's so funny. That was it. 2 days after that, I get a message from the girl, and she says, hey, Saja, it's Delina. What's up? I'm like, okay. So then I click on her page because now I'm curious, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? And it's literally her. It's literally Delina, same one, whooped my ass in the dance battle, same girl. So then I'm like flabbergasted because I haven't heard from or seen this girl in 10 plus years. I'm 23 now, so 13 years. What? So she's probably going to see this. I didn't respond to the message yet. Maybe I'll respond and be like, hey, if you're still around the Worcester area, maybe we could run that dance battle back. When I tell you that was something that, like, stuck with me, I always felt like, even then, so my aunt was also the camp counselor who was the judge. And I'm like, even if she did bust a better move than I did, you should have had a certain level of loyalty where you don't just go. And then I remember fighting it too. And then, oh my gosh, I remember that day so vividly, bro. I was like, what? She won? What? Like, that's not fair. No, everybody was screaming for me. What? And then my aunt was like, you kept doing the same move. She had different moves, so she won. That was like, for real? You gonna really do me like, okay, all right.
Babe, the truth is there is no such thing as coincidence. Everything that shows up in your life has a message attached to it, a pattern, a connection, or a whisper from something higher than yourself saying keep going, like you're right where you need to be. Synchronicity is how the universe communicates through people, timing, and moments that seem random until you step back and see how perfectly they fit together. You ever notice how one small decision led to everything else falling into place? You missed that bus, but you ran into someone who ended up helping you get your next opportunity. You almost skipped an event, but you went anyway and met the exact person you needed at the point in your life. That's not a chance. That's choreography. The universe is always arranging things behind the scenes so your path aligns with your purpose. But here's the part most people miss. You only notice synchronicities when you're present, when you stop overthinking, stop controlling, and start trusting that you are being guided. Because divine timing doesn't mean it happens fast. It means it happens right. Every delay, every redirection, every no you got was protection. And when you look back, you'll realize those things didn't fall apart. They fell into alignment. The key is to follow that feeling, that nudge, right? That gut instinct, that little voice that says, turn here, call them, try again, okay? That's divine intelligence moving through you, not coincidence, but communication. It's the same energy that aligns patterns, moves oceans, and makes the sun rise every day. If God can do it all, don't you think God can handle your situation too? So from this moment forward, I want you to start listening differently. When something random happens, don't just brush it off. Ask yourself, what is this trying to tell me? Because every time you pay attention, you strengthen your connection to what's guiding you. You move from confusion to clarity, from waiting to walking into purpose. And the more you trust that inner knowing, the more aligned opportunities begin to flow. Because the universe doesn't reward stress, it rewards surrender. So no, girl, it's not a coincidence. It's confirmation that you're in sync sync with something bigger, that everything is happening for you, not to you. So yeah, I just want to tell you guys a quick synchronicity story that I also experienced myself. So if you don't know, I am an orphan, right? And so I went into the car dealership and I was speaking to this lady first, and her name, and I'm gonna just give out fake names. Her name was Linda, right? Which was my mother's name. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cute. Okay. Linda was so nice, or whatever. She got me she got me approved, right? She got me approved. And then her manager, who actually showed the car, was Bob, right? Which is my father's name. And I said, wait a minute, Linda and Bob, like, okay. Like, he was so nice. He was showing me the car. And then the person who had I needed to do the financing with, why the other person's name, our last name, which is William, right? So Bob and Linda Williams. And I was like, yo, that's creepy, right? 3 people, 3 different names, all connected to both my mother and my father, who, you know, of course, passed away when I was young. But I was like, yo, that's crazy. And when I told my uncle that, he was like, that's not a coincidence, that's connection. And I was like, yeah, it just felt so weird. And everything of the whole car process was so simple and so easy, and just like, it was like as if it was already mine. I just had to walk in the door, right? But that was something that I will always like remember, and that's when I realized, like, okay, synchronicities are more so about connection and being in the moment and just allowing things to flow. I didn't even know I was gonna get approved or not. I just walked in and I was like, okay, I know I need a new car, okay. And that's that, right? So that was my story. All right, so I also just want to give out a huge thank you to all of my new members who joined the Champagne Room this week. You proved that divine timing is real, because every single one of you joined right when you were supposed to. So if you are ready to step into your own alignment, build digital freedom, and create a life that feels as good as it looks, we're not being fake rich over here, okay? Like, this is your sign to join us. Join the Champagne Room. The link is down in the description box below. Because listen, nothing is random. You've been guided. Trust the process, Rych Babes. So I'll see you at the top because the bottom is too crowded. Until next time, Rych Babes, stay rich. Love you.